right now. My name is Barbara J. Beckley, and you are at the Visibility Corner with Barbara J. Beckley, myself. And what I do on this particular show is I bring in experts, bring in different companies, businesses, entrepreneurs that is maximizing, especially what they do. First of all, their purpose, what they do in life. And then at that point, how they take that and have an impact in the visibility strategy that they do within their lane. A lot of times, you hear people talk about the broad part about how to make visibility happen in your business. Like, okay, go on social media, post some things on Facebook, maybe, have your website. But I always tell people, as me being a visibility strategist, is that you have to have a strategy. That's why I put it in my title, because you have to understand that whatever you do is your business. You should strategize in every area, in your marketing, in your PR, whatever you are doing. And also when it comes to visibility, knowing where to have visibility, who to hire for your visibility, and basically what's your plan of action on where you're trying to take your business while you're trying to be in different sectors in the world. So as I always say, this is a visibility corner where I am talking to different businesses. First of all, understanding what they do, how important they are, and just getting a little bitty tips and strategy of how they make themselves available and stand out through others. So I have a wonderful person. I always love bringing on these experts because they teach me. And this one particular, and I'm going to just going to put it out there. When I have women on my show, I call them queens. And when I have men on my show, I call them kings. So I have a king that's coming on today, Cahill Camden. He is a CEO of the Digital Vision Media Group. It's an agency that helps Web3 and technology companies optimize for their growth. Now, I could get more deeper. He's a triple threat here. He's also an author. Yes, he is. And he's a Forbes contributor, best-selling author. So I'm thinking to myself, just listening to that alone, this is a conversation you need to listen to because he knows and he has the credibility for it. So with that said, after this one commercial, we're going to be right back. I want to make sure that we have this conversation with Mr. King Cahill, and make sure that you really listen. Get that note paper out and that pen, because there's going to be some things that he's going to be talking about that might be able to move your needle in your business. So soon as we have our commercial, we will be right back to have this wonderful conversation with him. Mr. Cahill, thank you so much again for coming on the Vision Corner.
Thanks for having me on.
Yes. So before we start, because I know you've been doing some wonderful things for the corporations and what you do in your own business. So I want to kind of start off with just getting like behind the scenes on how you started into this particular forum that you're doing now.
So I started from sales. I was doing sales for a media company. And then from that point, I thought, I want to learn a bit more about marketing. I started doing all sorts of different marketing activities. And from there, I got into what I'm doing now, which is more press. We do paid media. We do content marketing for tech companies. And that's created a whole bunch of opportunities, which have led me to create my own startup or my own AI-powered company, which is focused on press.
Awesome. So you were in sales before you kind of got into this a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I have to give you kudos for that because, I always tell people, the lanes that you're really good in and then the lanes that you're not. That's one of the lanes that I'm a little bit that I have to get like from you and others that know that. Not my purpose. I like working with people in a different way. I always say, okay, get the salesperson to sell the product for me, and then I'll help them with the rest. So I'm glad, but you have both takes on that, which, you started there and now you're helping out corporations. Especially I like how you said about content. I'm seeing that's really, really, I tell people, I don't care what you say, content is very important because that's going to make people stay and listen to what you're trying to say, listen to what you do. So I'm glad that you took that on, and basically you're doing that within your own company to help other people understand how important it is with that.
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
but I wanted to ask you, because I was, reading what you do far as, evolving into these corporations and kind of guiding them to their success in that area. Um, what was your vision evolved around over time when you started this company, and the steps to create the visibility for your own company so they can understand what you do?
So I wanted to help technology companies that I thought had an interesting product, an interesting service. I wanted to help them grow. And so that's how I started. It was, first helping some friends who I thought had interesting companies, and then it grew from there with referrals and with other types of marketing activities. So the second part of your question is, what have I done to help grow the visibility of my own company? Content is a huge piece. It's something that obviously we focus on as a company, and it's really understanding how to tell stories, how to write well, and how to communicate well, so that your content can be seen by other people. So whether that's posting content on LinkedIn, on your blog, in a publication, we that's what I did to help grow the company.
I like how you said about stories. A lot of people, um, they think of that when you say you need to tell a story. You need to so they understand where you came from. They're like, "What are you talking about? I just want to let them know what I do." But I think, in just to ask you a little more deeper than that, I think by putting that story there, it makes it more interesting.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's, everyone has an interesting story to some degree. And it doesn't matter what kind of company you're creating, you can you can create a story about it. And so, whether you're just working in your local community, or whether you want to go bigger to your town or your city, or larger than that, um, it starts with stories, and you start small, and then you start scaling up from there. That's what I always say.
Yeah, yeah. But I was going to ask you, with the rapid growth, within like what you're doing with the technology, and then now AI seems like it's like taking over. It took over me the other day because I've been using
Yeah.
it more lately too. With these unique challenges that you're having, and you see other companies probably having. What kind of unique challenges and opportunities do you see for the companies in this space?
So I think every company can really benefit from AI use right now. I think if you're, again, whether you're a small business, or a medium-sized business, or a larger business, you should absolutely be taking a look at AI. And even if you're just thinking about creating a business, AI is here. Like, you can log on to ChatGPT. It is free. You don't need to have a paid account. Paid accounts are great, like it's $20 a month, but you don't need to have that. And you can start to experiment with it. There's tons of YouTube videos on how to teach it, train it, prompt it. And I really think that this is, like you said, Barbara, like, this is taking over. And it's a little scary, but it's definitely something you've got to look into.
Yeah, because I was just going to say, with what you're doing, like you said, you're helping out other companies with their content and putting themselves out there. Now, with this, Chat GPT, a lot of companies are now saying, well, I can just go in there and type what I want to do for a press release, maybe, and they'll type in
Totally.
what it is, and it will just create a whole, document. So, how do you kind of work through that environment with, that kind of challenge, probably?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot of changes in terms of content production, advertisements. Like, again, ChatGPT, it is pretty darn good. Like, you can prompt it to give you full articles. You can prompt it to create social media posts. You can prompt it to create advertisements. You can prompt it to create press releases. Like, the list goes on and on. And so, yes, we're seeing a shift. I do think, though, that you still need a human to edit it. You still need a human to prompt it, and it's not at the point yet where it's going to just do things on its own. Like, you say, "Hey, write me 100 blog posts," and it's going to say, "Okay, sure," and it's going to go find all the keywords and write all the blog posts. Like, it's not quite there yet. It will get there, but it's not there yet. And so you still need to prompt it. You still need to edit the content. And again, even if you're even it doesn't matter how big or small your company is, it is something that you can leverage right now today for free. And it is extremely powerful. Like, it is really powerful.
Yes. And I was thinking when you were talking about that, that sometimes, well, first of all, we always have to put ourselves in it. No matter how much structure will give you the AI and everything in which you put in there, you need to have that. I always say your uniqueness that comes out, and AI is not going to do that uniqueness because they don't really know you. And I think by adding that and then maybe giving that to your company, and then you just make it more, powerful for them. So I think it helps. You have to understand how to use it, but also make sure that you're putting your unique touch on it, as who you deal with, as far as companies that you deal with as well.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so then we understand that this is something that is coming. I understand that this is something that's coming. And so from this, we've integrated AI into our latest venture, latest startup, um, so that people can create press responses with the AI that we've trained. And so now you don't have to go somewhere else. Like, you can come to our platform, and when you're responding to press requests in our platform, media requests, asking for experts, the AI will do that for you. Just click a button, and it'll take care of it.
See, I like how you integrated that. So it works, the best of both worlds. And, they're still coming to you for your talent, your expertise that's needed. Because I don't care what AI does, I always feel like it's going to be a need for what you do in your company for people to grow. Because I always tell people, I never want to let go of that relationship building with, companies to help me grow, instead of just somebody just talking that's automated all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I was going to ask you too. Now, when you approach, like developing customized growth strategies for your clients that you have, what kind of metrics or measurable success do you use for them?
So we look at growth numbers, like, because we're working with technology companies and Web3. So just for those who are not familiar with Web3, that's like, you've probably heard of Bitcoin. So it's like Bitcoin, cryptocurrency exchanges, those types of things. And so our metrics are basically user growth. So user growth and revenue, that's what we're looking at measuring. And so, it takes time to it sometimes takes time to grow those numbers, but that's what we're ultimately looking at. So we look at what is the current baseline right now, and then we do our marketing activities, we implement our strategies, we adjust, and then we look at the results of that, every month, and we continue to go forward so that we can help them grow.
Now, when a new person, like say for instance, a client comes to you and they want you to help them with what they're trying to do within their business, what's kind of the first thing that you start off with them to help them in that area?
I have to assess where they're at, right? Like, so I think one of the big challenges for anyone who's starting a business, or anyone who's in a business, is there's always so many things you could do to grow, right? Like, even if it comes to social, right? You can do There's 10 social platforms, and on each platform there's different strategies. Like, let's take Instagram. Are you going to be doing Instagram, you know, photos? Are you going to be doing, are you going to be working on Twitter and doing Twitter Spaces, just tweets, tweet threads? Like, are you going to be doing, there's so many things you could do. And so I think the first thing that I look at, and I would recommend everyone looks at, is, okay, out of all of the opportunities you have on the table, what are the top ones that you think are going to drive results for your business? And so that comes down to, like, where do you think your audience is, right? Like, whether you're a service provider or whether you're selling a product, where do you think they are? And then from there, start to think about, okay, out of all these things that we could do, these 40, 50 things, what are the top 10? And then narrow it down to top 5, and then narrow it down to top 3. And that's hard. And so once you get down to that, then you can start putting together a strategy that says, okay, here's what we're going to start with. We're going to start with these 3. And then if that doesn't work after a month or 2 months or 3 months, here's the metrics we're going to look at to measure our results. So if that doesn't work in 3 months, then we're going to change, and we're going to try a new strategy. And the new strategy is going to look at these other platforms or these other tactics, and you continuously do that. So that's where I start with this broad look at what the business is doing. What is their current strategy? Where is their audience? Where do they think their audience is? And then we say, okay, based on the resources you have, so your team, your money, the time you have, what can we do to actually start to move forward in the direction of growth that you're looking for?
Yes.
And it's a long answer. So yeah.
No. That was good. That was really good. I love you basically, because that's what's needed. Like you said, you're building, first of all, you're trying to understand what they do, their business. Then you're saying, okay, what kind of platform? Because just try an example, going back to what you said, there's like over 10 platforms for social media, because I work with them all the time. I'm with everybody. And every time I get a client, the first thing they say is, okay, I got to be on everything. Somebody told me I need to be on everyone. And I'm like, okay, let's back a little bit.
Exactly.
Because everybody always think that they hear others, they don't get to the expert first, and they feel like they just need to just throw everything out there on everything. And I know you might get the same thing from people that are coming in to
Absolutely.
Your platform, and you have to go through like you said, the scenario of what you talked about, understanding what they bring, understanding who their audience is, what is their niche, understanding what the niche is, what their pain points are. Because I tell people, everybody, just because TikTok is just, people think that's the number one thing, which I know it is sometimes, but that doesn't mean it might be for your particular business, or what your clients might not be over there,
Yeah, exactly, Barbara. And here's the other thing to remember is that there are going to be success stories or successful businesses on every single platform doing every single type of marketing activity you can think about. Like you're going to find some story about some company that's really successful from doing direct mail campaigns. Still, you're going to find someone who's super successful doing TikTok videos. You're going to find someone who's super successful doing cold calls. You're going to find, and you go down the list. So you can be successful on any one of these, kind of directions, but that doesn't mean you need to go down all of the directions at the same time with your limited small team or your limited team, even a large team, and limited amount of money and limited time in the day. Like you only have 24 hours. It's like you can't do it all. So you're gonna have to choose, and that's part of the strategy.
Yeah, and I think that's the growth of a client. I think any client that we receive, that's the growth with them too, because they just get so like, I know I need to do all this. I know I'm not doing it, and then you have to say, okay, let's. It's okay. It's almost like you have to do that little. Let's have that breathing moment, and then let's get into what your needs are and what I can do for you, and let's go down the strategy road here. So I'm loving what you do with that. Now, as a CEO, because I always ask this question because, when we have our own businesses, as you're being like a digital marketing agency, what do you see the biggest trends and innovations that's going to shape the industry in the next 5 years that you're a part of?
So I think the number one thing is artificial intelligence. This is, so just for people who have not heard about ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT is the fastest company in the world to go from 0 to 100 million users. It took them 2 months, and it's grown from there. The advancements, the speed at which AI is changing, and we're in it. Like we've integrated it into one of our platforms. Like I said, the speed at which it is changing is just so fast. Like there are new things happening every single week. And so, yeah, that can be a little scary. But in terms of what is going to affect marketing in everyone's business, not just technology industry, we're talking any business, artificial intelligence is going to affect it. And so some people might be thinking, well, I'm not really sure, I don't know, maybe not my industry. Let's just kind of paint a little picture. There are YouTube videos right now, like literally version 1 of AI mimicking Jay-Z, Drake, The Weeknd in terms of artists who perform songs. It is almost, not quite, but it is almost so good that you cannot tell the difference. And that's version one. So that's audio, right? Now you also have the same thing happening with images and photography.
Mhm.
So you've got product photography that looks fantastic that's built by AI. Then you have content. Then you have social media. Then you have advertisements. It's getting crazy. Videos already starting in 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, that type of thing, 6 to 12 months. Video will start to come out where it's generated completely by AI. So like it's going to affect everybody's business. And so what I would really recommend is people start to learn about it. Again, there's tons of videos online. There's lots of free resources you can go to, and you can use it for free. But that's something that I think is going to affect every single industry. It's going to affect marketing, sales. It's going to affect everything.
Now, I know we talk. I mean, didn't mean to take over our conversation,
Yeah.
but I was going to ask them. As you were saying that, is what do you think? Because I always think of this for myself too. What I do in my business is what's going to like make you different or people draw to you while this is going on, because like you said, this technology, all this innovation, all this what's going on, a lot of people do themselves now, like you said, and it's going to even get bigger and bigger and bigger as we go.
Mhm.
What's going to make you, or what you're thinking of make you unique, where people are still going to be like, okay, I'm going to go to Cahill, I don't care what's going on, he has what I need.
Yeah, that is a really good question, because when everyone can use AI and they have almost the same power, then like you're right. Like, what's the difference? And so I think the difference is going to be in that human connection that you mentioned before, right? Um, yes, your ability to put your style, your flair, your personality into the the kind of content or the creations that AI is making, that's
Mhm.
going to be a start. But over time, AI will get good at that as well. And then other people will be able to replicate that. And so then what really becomes a difference is, I think, that human to human connection. So talking to people like this on video call or on voice, building communities for your customers, whether that's your service-based business or a product-based business, having a community of people who like and love your products and services and who are interested in trying to accomplish something in their lives, that's going to be super important.
Yes.
And then, going from there, I think anything that kind of relates to human touch, customer service, that type of thing, is going to be extremely, extremely important.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Like I said, I don't care where we go. That human touch still has to stay there. I just really believe that that has to always be there in building those relationships, and that makes you unique than just somebody just sending you to an AI thing, and they got to go through. I
Exactly.
mean, just real quickly, and then I want to get some last words from you. Is that I know I was on a phone call calling because I ordered basically my mic and it wasn't working properly, and I was like, okay, let me call Amazon and stuff. Well, I went through the loop with that for like probably a good 10 minutes, and I still didn't get to a human yet, and I had to wind up, and I was looking online, and I had to use a chat, and that was AI. Then I was like, I finally found a phone number. Then they said, no, you got to go back to your chat. So basically, they kept sending me back to AI, and I still didn't get anything resolved. So just saying that is that, see, all I needed was to talk to somebody. If I would have, that would have probably took out a lot of that time, a lot of that time. So just it's always, we always have to be there. We always need to talk to each other to a certain level and just basically become that personality, that relationship. So
Exactly. Yeah, that's a huge, huge difference. And I think you're absolutely right, Barbara. Like, the human touch is going to be very important moving forward, and I think we need that.
yeah, yeah. They'll all be hermits. I mean, I just think about it. We already got the COVID thing. We dealing with that, and then we're gonna go right back into it because of this part. It's like that's no excuses anymore. We need to be out around and talk to each other. But but I want to make sure to give you just some a little more time. I'm going to put myself down because I want you to give some any lasting thoughts for the audience regarding what you do, and also maybe just another tip that you might have to help them be more visible in their own business. So I'll be right back.
So I wanted to suggest that if you haven't started doing anything, start right now. Like, you don't have to take huge steps. You just need to start. So that's one of the things that I would recommend. Yeah, okay, you might not be the greatest at whatever it is you're starting, but you have to start. So just start taking the first steps and see where that goes. From there, you can always get better, you can always learn more, and you can always shift and change your strategies and your ideas. But you got to start. You can't sit on the sidelines. So start moving forward.
Wonderful words of wisdom. That's why when I like to do that with all my guests, because you give so much good information, and I'm not going to say anything else. Sometimes you know when to be quiet. The words of wisdom came out. Now it's done with me. But one thing I do want to remind: please let everybody know how they can contact you.
Absolutely. If you want to connect with me, I would recommend you connect with me on Twitter. So it's at Cahill Camden, CahillCamden. So that's where you can connect with me. That's the best place.
Well, again, Cahill, thank you so much for coming on the Visibility Corner. And I know a lot of people learned a lot from you in understanding that, what's going on, what's coming in the future. But, the whole thing, like you said, always remember having that human touch is going to be needed, building those communities, like you said, and really just being the original person that you are. And with you being so original what you do, that you are really helping and being a world changer to the world. So thank you so much for coming on the show. I wish you all success that you do, and keep, just like I said, having that lighthouse shine from your company. You take care.
Thanks for having me on.